welcome to this session. We are on the 4th day of the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact Global Forum 2025. I'm Cristina Sossan from the Municipality of Milan Food Policy Office. I'm very, 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 very happy to see all you here and to introduce to this conference. And I will tell something more after all the presentations. So I leave the floor to Amalia from ICLEI and School Food for Change and Edwina from World Resource Institute to drive you in this fantastic title, Beyond the Lunch Tray. So everything about procurement, school meals, and monitoring. I'm very happy because I see some cities that are very working on that. Also some Italian friends that are working on the food observatory on school meals. So, and also some colleagues of us that are doing monitoring. So thank you for being here. And at the end of the conference, please register on the sheets that we leave behind you at the end of the room. Thank you. I leave the floor to Amalia.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Cristina, and thank you to the MUFPP for inviting us here to speak today about school meals, public procurement, food education, planetary health. That's what it's all about this morning, and hope you've grabbed a coffee on the way here, maybe after an early morning study visits, welcome, or you had a very late night, like most of us as well, after the amazing ceremony. In any case, glad you could be here, and I am also sharing with you, first off, the QR code to get you to interact with some of the questions and some of the issues that we're talking about this morning. So you can already scan that now. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, that'd be perfect. So hi everyone, well done for getting here. Bit of a challenge, but we are here and thrilled to see you. My name is Edwina Hughes. I'm from the World Resources Institute. And Amalia and I are going to do a little bit of a double-hander just to set the scene. Do take your phones out and grab that QR code, because that's the way you're going to tell us what's going on for you in your city, so that we can understand how school food is being served and the priorities you have as you think about serving healthy and sustainable food for your cities. So if we flick back, we can go to the agenda again, if everyone has that. So the agenda is that Amalia and I are going to speak for just a couple of minutes, and then we are going to have a panel. So Anastasia is going to host a panel on a holistic approach to school food through partnerships, and then I'm going to host a panel on tracking success towards healthy, sustainable school meals. And then we're going to have some questions and answers. So that QR code is also the route through which you can pose your questions. I'll let you go ahead again.
Okay, thanks a lot, Edwina. We've heard the last few days a lot about school food, a lot of amazing good practices already, and today you're going to hear more about school food and more good practice cases to inspire you. But first of all, for those that are maybe not looking so much at this area yet, I wanted to just present a few of there are many big key figures here, important figures to consider. So these are just a few of the big ones that we thought are relevant for sort of putting this all into perspective, and why this area, when it comes to food, is so important. So we're talking about, when we talk about school food, even just in the EU, so this is EU, 5 to 14-year-olds, we're talking about 50 million children here. And if we cover like pre-primary, primary, secondary and tertiary, we're talking about over 90 million children here. So it's a very huge impact potentially that we are tapping into and trying to improve in terms of feeding. Then it comes to the financial spend. Of course, it's taxpayers' money. Mostly, a lot of money also from families to get meals on the plate and have children fed 5 days a week while they're at school. A huge market, public procurement. This is what it is for cities. When we talk about food procurement, we're mostly talking about school meals. That's what it is. It's hospitals as well, other institutions, but the largest chunk is definitely the part on schools. For most cities, also regional governments, depending on the country. Then it's about public health, care prevention. If we do things right and get good meals on the plate, supported by a framework of educational measures, bringing in the right suppliers that are in the vicinity as well, we can really, in the long term, also make a very sizable contribution to public health with an increasing rate of obesity and overweight in the European region. Here are the figures, 1 in 3 now. It was 1 in 4 not too long ago. So this is on the increase. Then children, of course, they're a vulnerable group. And in 2022, nearly 25% were at risk of social exclusion. So within the children sort of like group, there are also many vulnerable families and communities there affected. Another one that is not on my screen is the sharp decline in small farms in Europe that we're seeing. And this is reaching now some 40% of small farms. That means less than 5 hectares are disappearing. In Europe, they're taken, I mean, the land is taken over by larger farms. So this is also another point where we can sort of tap into when it comes to school meals. This is like one of my favorite slides about school meals and the School Food for Change project, which you may have heard it already mentioned a few times these days in Milan. But yeah, acting global has local has a global impact potentially if you do things right. And we really feel that the small plate can have a big impact if we take a very holistic approach to school meals. School Food for Change, it's a very, very big partnership. So this is the area, like if we try to fit it all into one slide. We're mostly working in Europe. 18 cities, regions and school networks are part of this partnership from 12 different countries in the EU. In addition, we have some cities from other parts of Europe and also other parts of the world that are following the project intensively and attending our events and getting to know how things are being implemented on the ground, what we call the replication cities. There are also some universities and a couple of hospitals as well following. And this is in the last 3.5 years that we have been working at this level, and the plan is to work until middle of next year. How are we doing this? Well, we've developed an approach which we feel is addressing 3 primary gaps, and we call it the School Food for Change triple approach. There's no silver bullet here. So basically, our project stands on 3 legs. That is looking at public procurement, of course, so taking innovative approaches and really looking at sustainability to include health as well. So not only the environmental issues, but also social issues, and basically the broadest form that you can think of. Then the whole school food approach. This basically is looking at schools and how they approach food and developing a holistic approach to that. So it's about the food that's on the plates, but also the eating environment. How much time do children have to eat, actually? If we have amazing food, sustainable, you name it, from local farmers, and they don't eat it, it goes to waste. So this is the point of this, that we need other measures to support public procurement. And that's also transitioning to planetary health diets, looking at how cooks are preparing meals, training them to take into account how children actually eat. It's not that they're just fussy eaters because they're children. It's actually much more complicated than that. And we've learned a lot from the slow food movement and the University of Gastronomic Sciences in Pollenzo. They've done an amazing job in retraining there and getting yeah, the kitchens up to speed on how to like get the great food into children's tummies, because if it's not in there, then they're not able to perform as well as they could. Food goes to waste and so on. So I'm coming to my last slide. We've proven it. I think like there are lots of figures on this slide. So with the huge partnership that we have, the cities and the regions are doing amazing work, and we've got like 400 schools doing the whole school food approach to date, and this is just going to increase. This means that they implement a very practical framework and can keep getting ambitious as time goes on to improve what's happening with school nutrition at their schools. We've reached over 600,000 children through the project, and hope to reach more. Over 3,000 schools, canteen staff trained, 500 of them at least, like across the 12 countries that we've been active in. And through our outreach work, we have calculated that we're reaching nearly 3 million people so far. So yeah, this is we're very proud of these achievements. This is just another slide to show that through other work that we've been doing in the project and other organizations we've partnered with, like Avaz and We've Moved Europe, we've also collected over 111,000 signatures. This, for us, also shows that people in general care about this issue. They want that there be changes, and we really push for there to be a standard across Europe on having a healthy school meal for every child in every school. Best case, that this be free. So this is our mission still, to achieve this, and we hope that we get to do that in the next short-term while. But apart from that, I'm going to now pass on to Edwina to talk more about the public procurement side, which is a very important aspect of all this work. And yeah, Edwina, love to hear more.
Brilliant. Thank you, Amalia. So as Amalia said, I am going to slightly switch gears. But before I tell you about cool food, I'm going to come back to you and figure out what you said when we asked you that question. So if you haven't already, you can grab this QR code now. But I'm really interested in what you're thinking about when you're creating healthy and sustainable food in schools. So in terms of what you've said so far, teaching good nutrition, nutrition comes up a couple of times, planetary diet, affordable. Sisimba, I'm going to have that explained to me, but that's okay. What's Sisimba? Shyness in the room. Okay, well, whatever Sisimba is, we'll figure it out before the end of the session. Food from the region, yeah, so local food is always really important. Stakeholder engagement, we're going to talk about actually the most important people to involve as you try to serve sustainable and healthy food. Delicious. That is really the most important thing. The food has to look and sound delicious. Sarah from Ghent is going to talk a little bit about how important it is to, yes, get climate-friendly food and sustainable, healthy food on the plate, but it has to be delicious or children won't eat it. This is fantastic. Thank you very much. Keep going. I'm going to return to that in a little minute, but I'm going to pop back into the presentation now. So I am Edwina Hughes, and I work for the World Resources Institute, and we are a research organization. I work in the kind of more of the communication side, so I work with the behavioral scientists and the environmental scientists, and I try to create a bridge to industry, so to explain what we do to industry to get them involved, and to governments, local and national. So we were founded in 2019, and we support organizations to reduce emissions from food. So today we have about 90 members in the Cool Food Pledge, which accounts for 2.8 billion meals served. We have this group of organizations, universities, cities, hospitals, corporate dining facilities, contract caterers, all pushing in the same direction. And if we can achieve what we hope to do, which is for them to reduce their emissions from food by 25% by 2030, then we will have reduce the emissions from that food by 5.5 million tons of CO2. So that's the target. What's happening in the cool food cohort? So we, as I said, we have a broad church. Cities are doing amazingly. So cities are really outperforming the rest of the cohort and have seen a 40% reduction in emissions per plate. Now, I know, you look at loads of numbers and you kind of go, well, what? I guess look at that fact that this number is so much bigger than the others in the table. So cities are achieving something that the healthcare, restaurants, universities, and corporate dining facilities are not. And this is school meals. School meals is the city's food procurement. So something fantastic is happening with our city members. So you're going to hear from two of them in my panel later. So how are they doing this? Well, basically what they're doing is they are reducing the beef and lamb on the plate by 66%. They are reducing other animal-based products by 22%. But also they are lifting up plant-based food by about 20%. So that's actually what's happening behind that figure. So what you're seeing is a shift. It's not an eradication, it's not a removal of meat or animal-based products. It is about rebalancing towards vegetables, beans, plants. And how are we doing across time? So what you can see here is you've got a big dip in the middle, that's COVID. So basically food service sort of shunted or sort of stopped at that point. You can see from this lovely colorful chart all the different kinds of foods that our cohort are procuring. And what you can see, this is the emissions. So you can see already just at a glance that actually it's the ruminant meat that's actually accounting for the vast majority of every single year's emissions. And then you see it kind of dipping, and then sliding a little bit back up. So what we've got is progress, but not as much as we need and not as fast as we need it. So that's a little bit of a whistle-stop tour of cool food. I'm going to hand over to Anastasia, who's going to host the first panel, and then I'll be back again. And we might find out more of what you're saying in the Mentimeter then. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Happy to see you here. I'm happy you have found the place also. And today we are talking about something that fits on a small plate, but it has a big impact. As you've seen on Mbale's slides, it affects almost all sustainable goals. And my name is Anastasia, and I represent WWF in Sweden. And maybe you know that's about cute pandas, but we actually I've been working with the food and climate for many years, since the food is a big driver for biodiversity loss and climate change. So we have to be in this field. And in this session we will explore how 3 cities, Mbale in Uganda, Lyon in France, Leuven in Belgium, are reimagining what school food is. So I would like to invite our speakers. Please take the seat, and first we go for so let's see. Yeah, okay. So you can see the speakers, and the first city that we would like to go to and look how you've worked with the school food was hosting the Open Food Conference last year. Maybe some of you were there. And we know that Leuven is a very important city in Europe. It's also known for its digital and green innovation in food sector and education. So, Ellen, please tell us how, and we are colleagues actually. We are working for School Food for Change project, and here we can explore more about Leuven work. And please tell me about the changes that have been, you have achieved, and what significant changes that you think that's what made these changes possible? Yes? Let me see, I have to push the...
Hello. Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So the city of Leuven, we started 4 years ago with our work on healthy food. It's not working? Okay.
Closer.
Okay. So we started with a project call for schools, as is the city, to work on more healthy food. You should know in Belgium, I will speak for Leuven only, not the whole of Belgium, we're not used to warm lunches at school. So we like to bring our lunchbox to school. But we saw after the COVID pandemic that a lot of children didn't bring any lunch anymore, or we call them the empty lunch boxes. They're not empty, but they're empty nutrition-wise. So a lot of parents had difficulties filling them with healthy foods. We would see chips in them, old fries, old bread. And the teachers really started alarming us as a city that this was an issue. Children weren't focusing at school. So we wanted to do something, and this is why we launched a project that schools could apply to get a subsidy to work on healthy food. We saw a lot of schools applied in a lot of different ways. It's the previous slide. You can see, for example, there was a school who invented the breakfast trolleys. So all children could just go to school, get something out of the trolley at their classroom and eat. Everyone could do it. It was for free, so the parents didn't have to pay for it. They worked together with an organization that made it possible to make it as free as possible, also the cost of the school. They didn't have to pay a lot for it. And they saw it really worked. Children weren't as tired anymore in the classroom. And actually, the whole of Belgium, a lot of cities applied these breakfast trolleys now. So we're really proud of that school, how they did that. Then other schools started with soup, serving at lunchtime or on break times. Even in the morning, a cup of soup at 10 o'clock is perfectly fine. Other schools did fruit inscriptions. You can see it on the picture on the right side. What was nice about this fruit project is that so parents could pay for the inscription, but they could also decide to pay a bit more. So then the parents who couldn't pay for it, they just could serve fruit to every child without any stigmatization. Who didn't pay, who paid, they didn't know. But that way it also relieved the schools from other costs. So we learned a lot about these projects, and then on the next slide, 2 years ago, there was a school, 3 schools actually, a group of schools, who wanted to do something about their warm lunches. So they served warm lunches, but they weren't really happy about it. It was very basic Flemish dishes, so potatoes, meat, a lot of sauce. But it didn't correspond anymore with what the children liked. The school is a very diverse school, and they didn't recognize the food in their plates like the food they eat at home. So the school, together with the city and Ricolto, a big partner of ours, did a new tender, and it was pretty innovative. So the school wanted it to be completely vegetarian, almost plant-based. They wanted a certain amount of local short supply chain food, and they wanted it to be as accessible as possible, accessible financially. So they started to have a sort of reduction system, and it was the city who paid for the reduction. So children who couldn't pay for the warm meals, it was the city who would pay for their meal. And actually, you can see him also, there was a new caterer in Leuven who didn't exist yet, who applied for this tender and who won it. And it's a completely new caterer who now is serving warm lunches at schools. He started with 3 schools, he's expanding. He's also doing cooking workshops. Thanks to the School Food for Change project, he got to go to Polenzo, learn more about the planetary health diets. So it's a really, really nice story. Then, this summer, the Flemish government decided they wanted to give money to the cities to support these kind of projects. So I think this is our main accomplishment, that through all the 4 years of experimenting, now we managed to get a subsidy from the government, and we can scale up all these projects to a lot of more schools. And what made it possible, I think, Ricolto, the city, School Food for Change, all the experiences we got made it that now we are ready to scale up, and we see a lot of cities in Belgium are not ready yet because they didn't get this experience through all the projects. So that's it.
Thank you very much, Ellen. Yeah, that is actually the very goal of our project, is to inspire other cities, countries to work with school food and all on broad level. You can also go to our website, schoolfoodforchange.eu, where you can find a lot of resources available for free, all handbooks, all kind of intelligence there gathered. Okay, so let's move on, and I would like to ask you, how many of you love coffee? Okay, a few shy hands, great. So if you do appreciate a good Arabica coffee, you might have tasted this coffee coming from Bogisa region, where the city of Mbale is located. And I would like to welcome Wilbur, working for Ricolta and also AfriFood Links, who's going to tell how your school food program has been developed from parental to the government-led one. And yes, welcome, Wilbur, please. You have, let me see.
Thank you very much. As introduced, my name is Wilbur Kakaire. I work with Ricolto. So I do come from Uganda. I am the AfriFood Links coordinator in Mbale. So just to begin, I want to give a small context about where I'm coming from. And thank you for the good introduction. Where I come from, we have a very, very good coffee, Arabica coffee. So I implore you, when you visit Uganda, you should be able to take some of that coffee. So Uganda is about 52 million people. Our primary enrollment in school is around 9.2 million primary kids. However, only about 17% of those kids are accessing a meal in school. And behind that is the glaring fact that school meals is led on by parents, it's parent-led. It's not led on by the government. And the thing is, it's not mandatory for a parent to contribute for their child to access a meal in school. So now that has created a lot of imbalances and inequities within the school, where you have some kids accessing a meal and others are not accessing a meal. But then, just to narrow down to Mbale, Mbale has a population of about 360 people. However, it's also an emerging city. So we are only 5 years old. So Uganda has 10 new cities that were created 5 years ago, and Mbale is one of those cities. So everything about Mbale is now quite emerging. Even school feeding is an emerging thing that we are trying to work through. So, and one thing I needed to mention, that the emerging cities give us the greatest opportunity for the impact around school meals because of the opportunity they present us to design interventions around them. So within this context, Mbale is a replication city, and we we adapted the framework within the School Food for Change for Mbale City in terms of implementing what has been done within the project for our city. So there were very good frameworks, the whole school food approach. We adopted some of these approaches for Uganda, for Mbale particularly, where I'm coming from. So just to get down to the actual context of where we have been for Uganda and school meals. When we started out with the school meals engagement, our initial design was around diets, in terms of trying to create more diets. And then when we engaged the stakeholders, they said, okay, wait a minute, our biggest concern that we want more kids to access a meal, so we needed to create more agency within Mbale around the school meals because it was parent-led. So one of the things we have done was our penetration to the schools was through the school garden model. So we worked up with about 10 schools, and then we were creating an agency around school meals to see that we are mobilizing parents and the teachers around them enrolling more kids to the school feeding program. So what we have seen right now significantly is that we have seen a revival of the school garden model in the schools. So this was just an entry point to see that we are creating an agency around the school meals within Mbale. So that's where we are coming from. Before we get into the dietary preferences and everything, we want to say that kids are able to access a meal. And then the other aspect, which is quite very key, is that through our engagement, the kind of work we are doing there, it's been around the transfer of skills as well to about urban farming, around nutrition, around diets, not only to the parents, but even to the teachers and the learners. And this has been very key for us because there is also a reciprocal kind of effect to the parents. Once the kids are learning anything around the school garden models and everything within the school, they are able to transfer that to their parents who are living within the urban centers. So in a way, we are coming from a point of creating agency within Mbale in terms of mobilizing the parents and mobilizing the stakeholder to support the school feeding initiatives. However, we are really thankful to the School Meals Coalition. 2 years ago in 2023, Uganda signed up to the School Meals Coalition, and they have made commitments. So we are really at a point of transition from a parent-led school feeding program to a government-led model. And that's why we are saying that now, where we have 17% of kids accessing a meal, that's about 1.5 million kids out of 9 million in Uganda who are accessing a meal. The potential to move from 17% to 80% can happen within a switch of 1 year. If the government takes on the position of supporting the school meals model. We have already seen, of course, some other benefits as well that have been primarily being reported by some of the schools where we have done the payrolls of what we have done. In terms of, the enrollment, primarily they are reporting about the enrollment on the school feeding within the schools themselves, but also the kids within the schools. And this has been really very key for us. So I could say for now, that's what I could mention in terms of what we've benefited. Most significantly, the school garden model being created, but the agency around school meals is the most critical aspect that we are seeing that's emerging, where we are seeing stakeholders and leaders gathering up to see that the kids and everybody is actually now upping up so that kids should be able to access a meal. So we are hoping that in the near future, perhaps early next year, we are able to see a potential transition between a parent-led model to a government-led model. And finally, on that part, because of the agency we have created around this initiative, we are also attracting more investment around generating local evidence on how do we make school feeding workable in our local context. So we are undertaking research and generating this local evidence, and we are actually attracting funding within that area as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wilbur. It also echoes the yesterday discussion with the School Meals Coalition that the national governments are taking the leadership since they see also the big investment into the future. Happy that it happens in your country. So our next speaker is from Lyon, as you see, often described as the culinary capital of the world. And Lyon gave us Paul Bocuse, and also won the most elite cooking competition in the world. And Lyon maybe has most Michelin star restaurants per capita. But today we are talking about different kind of kitchen challenge, serving healthy and sustainable food to the kids. And please, from your view, what were the most significant changes in your city?
Yes. Hi, I'm Estelle Jacques, so I work from the City of Lyon as a School Food for Change project manager. Thanks a lot for giving the space to the City of Lyon to present some of its highlights. So for us, one of the most meaningful changes we've seen in the school food has been how we could bring to the kids some really big changes we've been putting into the menus, and how we could make that lunch become more and more an educational moment. And we did this through the school catering handbook I'm going to present very quickly to you today. So we know that lunch is a very important moment for the kids. It's a moment where they will discover new food, where they will spend time with their friends, where they will become more conscious about food issues. We also, in the city of Lyon from 2022, and with the arrival of the new political team, we had very big changes in the menu. Nowadays we have menus with very high percentages of organic products, local products. We have 2 vegetarian meals per week, sorry. We have seasonal products. We try to have homemade recipes as much as possible in the menu. So we had all these changes. And so the challenge for the city of Lyon is how we can bring this to the kids. And probably in the city of Lyon, this is even more needed because we have a disconnection between the production and the consumption. In Lyon, we produced around 25,000 meals per day for 209 schools. And these meals are produced in Lyon Central Kitchen by a private caterer and are then delivered to the schools. So the kids cannot see that the meals are where the meals are produced and how they are produced. So that's why the city of Lyon wanted to develop a tool for the lunch team staff, which is municipal staff in the city of Lyon, to really support the staff during the lunchtime to support the kids. So here you can see a reference document that has been realized in the recent years. So the idea was to identify together with the school, the lunch teams, what are the priority objectives to ensure to have quality mealtime experiences in the schools. So here you can see that we identified 5 priority objectives: supporting the child in developing autonomy, promoting friendliness, promoting healthy and sustainable diet, supporting the child in their food discovery, and working together during mealtime, because in Lyon we have very multidisciplinary teams that are working during lunchtime, and the idea is also to work as a team. And these priority objectives have then been developed into professional practices for the staff, so they will understand what are the best practices to develop during lunchtime. So to give you some examples, we identified that the staff can take a few minutes to sit with the kids on the table, to speak with the kids, to maybe just have a friendly moment, to speak about food. They are also encouraged to not serve a big portion in the plate, but maybe just a small portion, so the kids will be able to taste the food, and then if they like it, they can go back to it. They will support the kid in being more autonomous and invite them to become active in the lunch tasks, so they will be able to clean the table or etc. And so this is the kind of tasks that are indicated in this school catering handbook, and that really helps the lunch teams to support the kids during mealtime. And probably what really made this thing possible is that this school catering handbook was created by the lunch teams with the lunch teams. So we had 80 volunteers that worked to the creation of this school catering handbook. And these are really people that are already working in the school restaurants with the kids, so they know the kids, they know how is it to serve the kids. And so this was really created by them. And also this work really showed the essential role of the lunch team staff. Working during lunchtime is not just serving the kids, it's not just making that the kids won't make noise, it's also really an educational mission and educational role. So this really highlighted the work of these teams. So this is something we are really proud. We have been sharing and developing through School Food for Change. I brought some of these documents. If some of you want, we can share it with you. And then we also have some videos to help the staff and the full catering handbook.
Yes, thank you very much, Estelle. Amazing job with the handbook, and you can also download it via the link here. It's also on the website of the School Food for Change. Just keeping the time in mind, let us be more brief, and for the second question is we go for, let's say, we have many cities represented here, so maybe it would be good if you share the key partners and where you should start, what kind of partnerships you can build, and how did you bring them together, all these different stakeholders. So please, we start with Wilbur.
Thank you very much. So based on our engagement so far and what we are trying to create, the key partners that we have identified have been mainly around the school management committees that we have to work with to see that, first of all, they appreciate and also understand. The other partners that are there that we are looking at, basically, the learners have been very key to creating this agency within Mbale. In terms of engaging them in what we are doing, they appreciate really urban farming model, the school gardens, and because they're actually picking some of the food from the school gardens and adding to their meals, however small the fraction is at the moment, by creating really some kind of impact. And the local leaders, the government and the city, of course, we are working with the city and we have a decentralized kind of government, but then also the national government at a level, because I'm talking about Mbale, but this is a representation of what's happening within Uganda all across. So we have a local government and then the national government as well at a higher level for advocacy mechanisms. That involves also the local leaders that we have, who oftentimes, because they are engaging with the community to see that they are mobilizing this. So I would say like all this is a multi-stakeholder kind of engagement for us to be able to achieve. These are some of the key partners that we believe should be able to push us forward from Mbale to say that we have a functional, sustainable school feeding meals program in Mbale. Thank you.
Okay, some pictures here. I'm just running through. You see the Mbale setting here. Yes, please, Estelle, if you can tell us about the Lyon partnerships.
Yes, so in Lyon we involved many different stakeholders, mainly through two very connected policies, so Lyon's educational policy and Lyon's global food policy. So regarding educational policy, Lyon's adopted its educational project and gathered around this educational project all the main educational partners. So we have for example, the National Ministry of Education, local associations, of course the parents, of course representative of the schools within this Lyon's educational project. And one thing I wanted to highlight here is that we have one Lyon's Educational Council that gather several times a year to discuss on the topic of education. And on this topic we obviously focus on promotion of healthy and sustainable food, but we also have some local educational communities. The idea of Lyon was really to bring this governance to the local needs and to the territories. So the city set up local educational communities that will gather the main stakeholders of education in a local area, and they will really be able to focus on the topic of education with the local partners. So I put a picture on the top. The first picture is a very interesting case, because it's a local educational council in the south of Lyon, where this council really identified the topic of food as a priority topic, and therefore, since then, they gathered the schools, the parents, the associative partner, etc., and discuss on the topic of food education. And on the other hand, we have Lyon's global food policy. So among this very cross-disciplinary policy, we have the school food approach. So here, the city of Lyon managed to involve a lot of different stakeholders in different commissions. I just put some examples. For example, we developed agricultural commission. So this is a picture in the middle, where twice a year we will gather the city, the private caterer, and a farmers representative to discuss together how we can improve local supplies. We also try to give more voice to the children because we have a centralized production and it's important for us to listen to the children, and so we developed a children's restaurant commission. This is the picture you can see on the top. And every year there are 9 schools that are participating, and kids will be children delegates to vote on the menus and to really express themselves on this topic. And with School Food for Change, we also could bring some whole school food approach to some schools. So Amalia presented it. We had some schools that really joined this project, and this could help us to bring also governance within the schools, gathering the director of the school, the lunch teams, etc. And yeah, this school food policy is one part of our global food policy in a broader organization, and nowadays we have a food working group within the city where we will make links between, of course, the school food, but also childhood, elderly people, social inclusion, open air markets, etc. So we also really try to make it a cross-disciplinary policy and to see what kind of synergy we can do through this group.
Thank you, Stella. And the same question to you, Ellen, please. Tell us.
Yes. So in Leuven we have a working group who works on the food strategy of Leuven, and it is over the city departments. So we have the Department of Education who sits in it, but also the financial department, the Department of Wealth, of well-being, social well-being, the sustainability department. And this is a nice way to really connect our projects and not work besides each other, but with each other. And for example, the Department of Sustainability, they launched a platform of local producers for the city of Leuven. And now we can connect the schools to this platform to get their fruits through this platform. And these are ways how we can really connect everything. And then also a very important partner is, of course, Ricolto. So we're lucky that the office of Ricolto, they're in the room, is like 500 meters from our city office in Belgium. So we can really ask them for help, get their expertise. So, yeah.
Okay, let's give an applause to all our speakers. Thank you very much. We've heard about 3 different contexts, how you can work with the school food. And now I would like to give the floor to Edwina and your panelists. So thank you very much for listening.
Okay, so back to me again, and I'm going to make you work again. So we're going to go back to our Mentimeter. So if you haven't already grabbed the QR code, please do so. And could my panel join me on the stage? And I will introduce you one by one, but in the meantime, I will have people use this Mentimeter. So please come on up. Come on up. Come on. Great, so if people are in the Mentimeter, I would wonder if they could answer this question. What measures of success are you using today to track healthy and sustainable school meals? Can you nod at me if you can access this question? Is this working? Yeah? Is this working? Yeah, you're able to get in? Fab, I'm looking for words to pop up. That's what's happening. I'll go back one slide so you can grab the QR code again. So if you want to take a photo of that QR code. Because this session is all about measurement, and I'm interested in what you're doing at the moment to measure your healthy and sustainable food. And while you're just grabbing that QR code and giving me some feedback, I wanted to just reflect on the last panel, and to remind me to explain to you why I'm interested in sustainable meals being served for children. The last panel showed me that influencing school meals are a brilliant way to ensure that children are being fed with healthy and nutritious food so that they can thrive. But our work at Cool Food adds one more layer to that, because we are thinking about climate when we're thinking about food. We want to create a sustainable food future, and to do that, we need young people to eat healthy, nutritious, and climate-friendly food so that we have a planet to hand on to them in the next generation. Okay, so you are adding to this question. That's fantastic. I'm now going to click on excellent to measure the success. So ask children if they like it. Yeah, that's a really great way to figure out actually if something is working. And that comes back to the delicious point, because if the children don't enjoy eating the food, they aren't going to eat it. Any other observations? Maybe I will come back to this. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you're getting into it now. Okay, I might just wait for a second. Let's see. Creating menu charts. Yeah, food waste, making sure you measure that. That's a great way to measure, I guess, acceptability of the food. If children refuse food, that's always a very quick way of understanding whether they're actually enjoying eating it. Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to jump out of this and back into our presentation, and I'm going to introduce our fantastic panel. So I am spoiled with this panel because they're such brilliant women. And I'm going to just take a minute to, no, come on. I'm going to take a minute just to introduce you one by one. So we have Sarah Bruners. She's from Ghent. She holds a master's in she holds a master's degree in health promotion and is a qualified dietitian. She is proudly representing the vibrant city of Ghent in Belgium. She works within the division of facility management. Sarah is the project manager of the EU-funded initiative School Food for Change, which you just heard about, where she collaborates with colleagues from across different departments, with procurement officers to ensure that children in Ghent schools and daycare centres enjoy meals that are healthy, sustainable and affordable. She's passionate about creating positive change, and she combines expertise and enthusiasm to make nutritious food accessible for the youngest citizens of Ghent. That's Sarah. Then we have Bettina. Bettina Bergman-Madsen is a Chief Procurement Officer for Copenhagen Municipality, where she leads the Strategic Procurement and Food Team in the Children and Youth Administration. She works with national ministries to implement requirements for green tenders and heads Denmark's National Public Food Procurement Network and the EU Food Procurement Network. These networks focus on integrating the UN Sustainable Development Goals into procurement processes from tenders to evaluation and reporting. At EU level, she contributes to projects such as SFUC, Food Trails, and JA Prevent NDC, and serves on 2025 EU Stakeholder Expert Group on Public Procurement. She was appointed a UN, I wish I could read my own writing is probably the problem here. She was appointed a UN Food Systems Champion, and she collaborates closely with One Planet Network and UN School Meal Coalition. She also co-authored How Together We Can Make the World's Most Healthy and Sustainable Food Procurement, and she's a member of the EU Expert Group on Developing Legal Framework for EU Farm to Fork. Okay. And then we have Joanna Aguiar, and she is from Massotinhos. Joanna is a nutritionist with a degree from the University of Porto and a postgraduate qualification in public administration from the University of Minho. I'm sure I pronounced that terribly, sorry. She has been working in education department of Massotinhos since 2006, where she is serving as head of division since 2017. Her work in public school covers institutional catering, food safety, community nutrition, nutrition policy, food and nutrition education. So those are our fantastic women. Can you please give them a round of applause? Great. So what I've tasked our speakers with is to tell me how they are tracking and measuring progress, because there's loads of different ways to do it. Obviously, I'm going to tell you cool food is a fantastic way to do it, but there are lots of different things you can do. So we're going to hear from Sarah first about measuring, and I'm going to grab that water if I could I? Thank you very much. Brilliant. Sarah, over to you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Of course, I'm also going to tell you that cool food is a great way to measure. Yeah, you can jump ahead to
okay.
Yeah. She already showed you in the introduction of the panel this morning the great chart. I also brought it for the city of Ghent. So we are part of the Cool Food Pledge, and so we committed to have a decrease in our food-related greenhouse gas emissions. And from 2018 until now, we already have 38% decrease. And the way we did it was we shifted our meals. Also explained this morning. You can go to the next slide. How to drop your greenhouse gas emissions. We shifted to half-half meals. So essentially on a week base, we now have a 50% animal-based protein and a 50% plant-based protein. You also have the picture there. It's in Dutch, but you can imagine what it means. So you have the fruits and vegetables, the legumes, beans, and so on. And then on the other half, the chicken, fish, cheese, and so on. So we really balance our menus with the different types of protein, and that's the biggest reason why we had the big drop in greenhouse gas emissions. But as said already, also I really shouldn't be here because everything is already said. Meals should be delicious, because if you serve the healthy, sustainable, nutritious meals, but it doesn't get eaten, then you should actually just throw it away, forget about it. So how do we measure if kids actually like it? It was also already in the Mentimeter. We do taste surveys. We go to the schools ad hoc, we talk to children, we also sit with them during lunch. Sometimes if we have meetings with colleagues, we go to the canteen, we have our meeting there, we eat with the kids, so they really can see how the kids are perceiving the meals. But then once every contract, we do a big survey with over thousands of children replying to the taste survey. So they eat the meals, and then when they're done, they hand in their plate, they get a tablet, and then they can fill in some questions with smileys, and then we get this nice chart with results. And as you can see on the left side, we score the menu as a whole. So we can see which menus are scoring best and which aren't. But then we also score the different components, because sometimes kids like the vegetables and tomato sauce, but doesn't like the vegetable that goes with it. And then the menu scores like a 2 out of 5. But it's just a matter of reevaluating and maybe just put in a new combination that the kids will like. So we collect the feedback and then we report it back to the catering company, and we go into a discussion of what is possible for them in order to make it more delicious for the kids. You can go. And then for us, what is needed is creating a robust food strategy. We've been talking about it all week, also about the situation in Ghent now, but we really believe you should have a robust food strategy that stays relevant over all the different kind of topics, health, economics, climate, and so on. And that is really the framework for measurement. So if you measure something, you should need that framework to report back on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. That's fantastic. Johanna, over to you.
It's on? Yes. Mm-hmm. Good morning. First, I would like to thank the Rural Resources Institute and the Milan Pact for this invitation. I'm truly delighted to share the experience of Matosinhos, a municipality in Portugal that is deeply committed to providing healthy and sustainable school meals for all students.
You can just say next and I'll go for it, okay?
So where is Matosinhos? We are located in the north of Portugal, near Porto. Matosinhos is well known for its strong connection to the sea and gastronomy. We like to say that we have the world's best fish. In education, we manage 53 public schools with about 17,000 students from kindergarten to high school. One of our main responsibilities is running school food programs, and today I will present 3 key factors that have contributed to the success of our school meal program. First, our meals and the quality of our meals begins with the selection of the catering company carried out through a public procurement process with prior qualification criteria. These companies serve thousands of meals every day, so they play an important role in turning our policies into real and healthy food on the plate. That's why the select company must have the required certifications such as food safety, quality management, and environmental sustainability. Our contract also clearly defines all the rules on nutrition, product quality, and sustainability. For example, each meal has to follow the Mediterranean diet, in which soup, vegetables, seasonal fruits, and water are mandatory. We also promote local food on special days by serving fresh fish from Matosinhos port and products of the local industry, canning industry. But clear rules are not enough, and we also need daily monitoring to make sure that the rules are followed. So every day our nutritionists check the school canteens and run an evaluation program that rates each canteen from 0 to 100%, assessing key aspects of the service such as food safety, portion sizes, or meal quality. Another key factor for us is the participation and engagement of the entire school community, so we can meet their expectations. We often collect feedback from parents, students, and teachers. In 2023, parents gave positive feedback. 91% of parents gave us positive feedback on our school meal program. And in this year, we launched a new program named Your Opinion Matters, in Portuguese, A Tua Opinião Conta, and allowing the students to share their opinions on school meals directly with the municipality. We cannot forget that one of our main goals is to encourage our students to choose our canteens instead of external fast food options, so their feedback is crucial for us. You can go on. And all these actions have paid off, and our school meal program has grown over the years. This progress has been achieved by evaluating all the initiatives implemented and monitoring food consumption indicators. As you can see in these charts, the numbers of meals served every day and the investment in this program have increased a lot since 2006. 20 years ago, we served around 3,000 meals per day, and now we serve more than 9,000 lunches with an investment that is more than 4 times higher than in 2006, reaching over 4 million euros in 2024. And of course, These results give us confidence and drive to keep moving forward. And I would like to highlight that in 2017 and again in 2021 after COVID, we assessed the nutritional status of our children and the results were not good. In 2017, more than 1 in 3 children were obese or overweight, and but by 2021, that number had risen to 42%, likely due to less physical activity and poor eating habits during the lockdowns. Even so, this data was crucial to make healthy eating, especially in schools, a political priority for our municipality. And that's why Matosinhos pioneered free fruit distribution for all students aged 3 to 18 through the Have You Eaten Fruit Today initiative. And as you can see in that chart, fruit distribution grew a lot, and students say that this program helps them to eat more fruit every day. In conclusion, Matosinhos shows consistent progress in school food programs. Our approach is guided by evidence, supported by continuous monitoring, and strengthened by the participation of the school community. We believe that healthy, sustainable, inclusive school meals are a powerful tool to reduce inequalities and improve children's long-term well-being. And we hope with our example, other cities can be inspired and invest in strong school meal programs, because feeding children well at school means building a healthier future for everyone. Thank you very much. Grazie.
And over to Bettina.
Thank you very much. With a little different perspective now, because I'm usually talking about procurement. And I also always start with this picture, because sometimes all the things that we need to do, we need to save the world with lunches, and how to do that. Come on. For a procurement officer's side, sometimes it seems like, is it even my world? Why do I need to do this? Because I'm doing the contracts, I do the legal work, I do the economic work, let others cook, have a focus on the nutrition, the tastiness of the meals and so on. But actually, we need to link, and you all heard me say this before probably, but I will say it again, it is so important, like you said, that we collaborate. We need to get procurement officers on board, because in the procurement and in the legal work, we can actually do some of the changes so that the kitchen staff don't even have to think about it. They just need to, not just, but they need to buy the food and cook the delicious meals. But we can incorporate a lot into the procurement already. Next slide. So, as all of us, we have engaged to the Sustainable Development Goals. So, people who say, oh, but my city doesn't have any clear goals. Yes, we do. We all said yes to this, or almost all, like around the world. So we have this hook that we need to do something differently. We can go towards this, and in the procurement make some of these changes. It talks about food waste, preventing it. It talks about reducing packaging, and we can talk about climate-friendly food. All these things are within there. And actually in our procurement, all the criteria that we put in there, because now we're talking about measurement, like you said, how to measure changes. And in the procurement, we link our targets towards the Sustainable Development Goals. We also link it to our food and meal strategy. We link it to so many different things to make sure that we gain our targets and achieve the political goals that we have. Also to be able to prove for the politicians that if you set a high target, we will try to reach it. In Copenhagen, we have a 90% goal on organic meals. It's quite high, and they asked us to do it within budget. We are at 88% now, and this is both school meals, meals to elderly, and social vulnerable people. 88% within budget. but we use more budget to teach our kitchen staff to cook differently and things like that. So this is really, really important. Next slide, please. The role of the procurement officer is key. We really need to focus on that the procurement officer can be the key to incorporate these things. They can be the driver of change. And if you tell the procurement officer, you don't just have to go to work and do your business with your head under your arm. You can actually be the driver. Come on, do the change. You can be the one who's helping feeding tomorrow's leaders the true meal so that they can grow and have a healthy life, maybe even get a life where they don't get sick because they actually eat healthy food. This is amazing. So this is what, when I go to work, I'm like, yes, this is what I'm doing. I'm actually one of the wheels turning that can create this change. Next slide, please. So, WRI data. We use it to measure, to prove that we are in the right direction. And you are in lead. And competition, procurement officers, we like it. Okay, that's what we do every day. Like we make competition, we create competitions, we put criteria, we measure, and then we find a winner. You are the winner. For now, yeah, and that is it. We will try to catch you. Anyway, we reduced since 18, 32% emission by changing the meals. We create meals that are, we don't talk about if they are organic. They are organic, 88% of them. And we don't talk about if they're vegetarian. They're delicious. We eat them. It's a tasty meal. It doesn't matter. They're plant-based. And for children and youth, for example, our mayor said, let's reduce beef, because I can see that beef and lamb, and we have like a square where it says that if you eat a little beef and lamb, you'll have a huge impact on CO2. So he says, why not get rid of it? Children can go home and eat beef and lamb if they want. So he removed it from our plates at schools and daycare institutions, and it has an effect. So we will measure that next year, coming up. Okay, so just to say that it works, what mayors do and what mayors say sometimes, if it's implemented correctly. So then, of course, in the procurement, it has the effect that the procurement actually says, no, we are not buying any red meat for children and youth anymore. Next slide, please. So we did a potato tender. You can also use procurement to reach the kids, to get them understand where do things come from. Actually, like connecting with the farmer, because if they don't understand where food is coming from, they easily throw it away, I think. They have to know that there's put a lot of effort in creating the meals, both from the chef's sides, but also from growing the potatoes. In a project called Food Trails, we created this potato kit where they planted their potato, they grew it, they harvested it. We did it at the office too. We harvested 200 grams, so we are definitely not farmers, and we're not going to be. I have highly respect for the farmers. And the farmer went on YouTube. He created videos where you can see how to grow a potato. He digged it up and said to the kids, don't do this. I will show you. So he showed what is happening in the soil, like what is growing. And then they went to the field, and they were like 13 years old and being really cool and being, I'm going to the farm. I don't want to. It's ugly and smells like cow. And then he saw the farmer. He's like, oh my God, you're that famous farmer from YouTube. So they connected. And can I take your photo? And can you write this? And like, he was a movie star for them. But then they also like, oh, you're the one making the potatoes. And then they went into the kitchen because he has like a test kitchen, and they cooked with them. The people who were growing the potatoes, they cooked different kind of mashed potatoes, and we also have like a rye bread where you put potatoes on. And they ate it. And suddenly they're like, this is also what they serve at school. Oh my God, okay, so this is how it's linked. Sometimes it takes a while also for me to understand that this is actually it. And the chefs at school, because we have these food schools. In Copenhagen, by the way, in Copenhagen we don't have by law school meals. We have now a test period where hopefully Denmark will, in 3 years' time, decide to have school meals. But right now it's each city who decides whether or not. And it's paid fully by the parents, except from the working labor and the facilities. So when we measure if it's a success, yes it is, because the parents buy it. So yeah, and yes, kids also throw away, and we see what is it that they throw away, and we change the menu a bit and stuff like that. But in Denmark, they have to buy it. So that's why sometimes I think it's important that they also know where the food comes from. Next slide, please. We are, like said before, I try to share the knowledge, like you said in the introduction. Thank you for that, because we built this network for procurement officers. So if you know a procurement officer out there, we built a European Food Procurement Officer Network that's linked to DJ Sante. Because I do believe that we can actually, by eating differently, prevent non-communicable diseases, like cancer, like coyote disease, exactly, diabetes, everything. So, and we are actually also working with industry to see if we can reduce salt in bread for children. If they don't get used to the taste of salt from a very, very early stage, maybe they will not have the same preference as I do, like eating chips if I'm a little bit tired or something like that.
Don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, but that's my... We are now 17 countries within this network, so a lot of people are represented. It links directly to the European Commission. And like said, I'm also in the group where we are writing the new directive, like a stakeholder expert group where we are giving advice to the Commission what should be within the new procurement directive. And this is also linked to food, of course. I always, when we have to talk about linking it, it's with food because food is different. Food is also something where we can see and measure, are we resilient as countries? What if something happened? Are we in control of our food system? Are we in contact with the farmers? I can say, yes, we are in contact with the potato farmer. We will eat a lot of potatoes, and that's about it for now. So join us. We also have a One Planet network where we're also talking about food and linking the whole food chains and trying to talk about how to do procurement differently. There's a lot of free, like in Coach, we wrote also a guideline on how to open up for small-scale farmers and so on. Let's walk together on this, and thank you. I think that was this last one,
I think
maybe?
so.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Bettina. So I think what we heard is lots of stories of inspiration there from the three cities. From Matosinhos, we saw what difference it made when the free fruit commitment was made. That graphic was incredible. It was just a flat line and then an almost vertical line upwards. So, just making those things available, if it's affordable to do so, can make a massive difference. Bettina, I loved your point around using the SDGs as your North Star. So maybe you're sitting here and you're listening to Bettina, you're thinking, wow, well, Copenhagen, they just have it sorted. They have it kind of figured out. But what Bettina is sort of saying is that actually we all have these tools at our disposal, and she's also inviting you in, so that there is, and all of these women are inviting you in to learn from them. And in Ghent, Sarah was talking about the half and half scores. So just that interesting way of just getting feedback immediately from the children and then going and speaking to the supplier and saying, hey, this is what we're getting in feedback, so we need to kind of maybe tweak some of these things. So I've asked you to ask some questions here. I'm going to flick over to the Mentimeter just to see if you have had the opportunity. No, I probably haven't made it possible for you to ask questions yet. Okay.
No, it's
Great. I think now maybe it's ready.
No, we have
yeah.
time, eh? We have time. We can go out 10 minutes because there's a break until
Okay,
11:30,
perfect.
so we have time.
So if you want to ask through this, that's perfect. Please go ahead, or if you want to raise your hand. But I
know that there are some questions.
Oh, brilliant. I just wanted to ask the panel one question because I heard the mayor of Quellerma, sorry, I'm pronouncing this terribly, Quellerma, and Dr. Jane, I'm not sure what her surname was, from Cape Town, and they both talked about the power that cities have that maybe they haven't stepped into yet. And I wonder if you could each briefly say, what power do you think is there that cities are not actually stepping into yet?
Free school meals.
Okay. Yeah.
I think sometimes the national governments have the responsibilities, and then cities are a little don't have the power to make changes, and maybe the decentralization of the power from the central government to the cities may help cities to make difference.
Okay.
I think, and I speak for Ghent, but also for other cities, make more noise about what you're doing, brag about it, make sure that the citizens who live in the city you work for know what you're doing. And I think, yeah, for us also, it's a working point, but yeah, make noise.
Great.
Okay, so before leaving you to the break, there are a couple of questions. We have time, so I think that there are many because this presentation have been really, really, really inspiring. And so I have just one, and then you raise your hand and we keep.
So, hello everyone. I'm from Ukraine, WFP. We are operating in Ukrainian school feeding program. But by the way of presentations, especially from the first round and the second one, I have a few questions, if possible. First of all, how you are promoting healthy diets? Why I'm asking? Because we are promoting healthy diet with less salt, less sugar, less fat, and so on. But at the same time, grandma will put you something to your child, to your backpack, to your lunchbox, or will provide you with some cash, and you will step out to a small shop to buy something not so healthy. So how are you doing with this in your countries? Second question, who should establish the quality standards for the food that should be delivered to or purchased to schools on a local level, like community, or some national HASP standards, or some international? Because for Ukraine it's important, we have a national standards, but in conditions of conflict, sometimes it's difficult to match the quality. And to buy from a local farmer, it's become difficult, so we address retailers. So how to manage this? And maybe the third one, which is much more practical about the procurement, how you control the efficiency of cost consumption. For example, if parents are paying, how you are controlling the process of usage of funds, or if the funds are used by from local budget or from national budget. How you ensure transparency and efficiency in the procurement process? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Easy questions for all our cities, but so second, can Edwina, do I collect all the questions and
no,
then
maybe we should do those three, I think. But also the first panel is very welcome to respond to any of those questions. But Bettina, I think, was going to respond to the question about promoting healthy food, right?
Yeah, I can say for all three. First of all, in Copenhagen, no sugars. The school have a school board, and most of them say, don't bring sugar, things, chips, things, energy drinks and things like that to school. And if they see it, they take it. So, and then they can get it when they leave school, but it's not allowed in school. And then they are not allowed to go out in the big school break, so they have to stay at school premises when they have a lunch break. So then they eat at school. And we actually see an effect on this, that they don't go out more because they are not allowed to. And it was the parents who decided this at each school. So this is one of the solutions. And the second one, but anyway, the procurement one was, yes, we measure everything, and I see we could have a problem with making sure that they do as we tell them, but it's really important that you write it into the contract and you write how you want to follow up. We have the money from the parents going into the municipality. Each daycare institution from 0 to 6, they have chefs hired by the municipality, so they have to follow our guidelines. I remember the guidelines, because they have to follow the Copenhagen guidelines, but they also have to follow the national guidelines. If we had European guidelines, they would have to follow them. And of course they would have to follow the most strict ones, because that are the ones that has the rule. So if we even had worldwide guidelines, they would also have to take them into consideration, which would be the Sustainable Development Goals for right now. And actually when we visit these different institutions, both elderly homes, social vulnerable homes, school meals programs, and even hospitals, they refer to the dietary guidelines. So they know that they exist, they know that they have to follow them and measure what they serve to the citizens regarding to each age group. And that's why I think it's so important that we unite on this and we have standards. So just being clear what you want to do, being able to measure it and follow up, making sure that everything is in control. For example, if you specify a certain salt intake, making sure how you to measure it and then do it, because then things will be as you tell in procurement. I think that was it for now. Otherwise, we can talk more. Thank you.
One thing that I could add for the case of Milan, that is also part of Cool Food Pledge and School Food for Change, is about quality. For instance, and there are here also my colleagues from the control unit of the municipality of Milan, we do a lot of checkings on the provider, so you should have a very strong, let's say, internal, like municipal control system for the quality and also for the capacity of the provider. And also we are driven by the health agency at local level that actually said to us, you should follow this, this, and this, so they control and they approve our menu. Without their approval, our menu are not, compulsory with the national and international guidelines, as was saying Bettina. So there are strict, actually, guidelines that we have to follow, and we have to educate the families and the Parents' Commission to be on our side to do this job, because because if we don't do that, it's really hard.
And I have something to add, because it sounds like we have like this control regime, which actually is not true, because we turn it around and saying we do it to be able to prove that we are working together, that we are accomplishing this together. So it's being able, so it has like a positive side. So it's not the negative side. I want to control you and I want to see that you do what I tell you. No, it's we have to be able to prove to the world that we are moving. We are moving fast and we're moving in the right direction. And actually the very, very positive effect is at the kids' side, because we see that they change their preferences. They actually like legumes now, and they prefer the vegetarian meals often over the meat-heavy dishes, so which we don't have because we are serving 350 grams of meat per week, and even less for children. So it's a little bit. It's just now we have the plant-based with sometimes every second week we have meat in our dish for school children. So we see it changing and their preferences. So it can be done.
Mm-hmm. We can talk for ages.
About my question. First one, how do you promote the healthy diets? It's more how to make it a trend. What tools do you use to disseminate this positive information about children, and families? Because the traditions coming from the family, not from the school. So which kind of tools, like, I don't know, social media, internet, others, what are the most efficient from your point of view?
Yeah, maybe I can give like a very practical example on that. Yeah, we use also social media, but for example, if we hear a lot of feedback from parents from one particular school, we ask to sit down together with the parent committee and have a meal together. The meal that their kids ate at lunch, we serve it after school, and we have a talk, we can have a presentation, and we eat the same meal. And most of the times, the parents are complaining or giving feedback because they don't know what the story behind the meal is. And we think just sitting down together with the parents is for us a very effective way, because after we sat down, the noise goes down. So that's a very practical, it's time consuming, but it's rewarding.
In Matosinhos, we invited parents to eat with children in schools. We have a project that we call, in Portuguese, Almoça comigo na escola, lunch with me in the school. And parents actually can lunch with their children in school and see with our own eyes what is served and the quality of the meals. And we also present the menus previously, so parents can complete the daily meals of the children with, in the a nutritional way, with a nutritional way. So I think it's important to involve the families because they are a key tool for providing healthy meals for children, not only schools, but families too.
Okay, my name is Itika. I'm from Tanzania, Mbale, the city of Mbale. And I must admit, I'm pretty impressed by everything that I have seen here. The advancement, everything, the seriousness. I'm really impressed, and I feel like we have a long way to go, and I'm sure we'll get there as long as we are determined. I have a question for Mbale, and fortunately he isn't there yet, but I'm sure he's around. Yeah, yes. I would love to know the sustainability plan, because I'm sure you are talking on behalf of Food Links, if I'm not mistaken, but then you are a Ugandan. I'd love, as a Ugandan, what will happen if the project phases out as the government, as a Ugandan? Yes, that's one. But then the second one is, how do you deal with junk food? Because back in my place, we are still battling that. Yes, there is nutritious food at the school, and we are promoting nutritious food consumption, but then the policies don't really limit the vendors, the junk sellers around. I would love to know if your country advanced. Since we are in the same zone, probably it's easy for us to relate. And the last question, I would also love from Mbale again, because at least we are in the same zone. I would love to know how did you manage to create the linkage of the producers and the school to create that useful partnership? Because I believe now the farmers would get the market and the school gets nutritious food or nutritious animal products and stuff like that. I would love to know, how did you? Thank you.
Well, while you pass the microphone, I would like to say that it took us since 2001 to reach this, so we have been working on this for ages. You are running so fast. I am impressed here. So it's yeah, it takes a long time.
I have to stop you. Okay, let's the voice of Mbale, and then we can continue our discussion for the 15 minutes of break, and then we can leave all the information and emails and questions to Amalia or Edwina. Thank you all for participating.
Thank you very much. Just briefly, I think the first question was on sustainability. Like I mentioned, we are trying to institutionalize what we are trying to do, because we are at a juncture of moving from a parent-led model to a government model. So right now, actually, we are looking at a blended model potentially that could come through. Our elections are next year. We don't want it to be rhetoric, so I have a duty to see that I'm holding government accountable to the commitments within the School Meals Coalition. But in terms of sustaining the current model, when I say parent-led means actually the parents who are contributing for the kids in school, either in kind or by cash, to access a meal. And it's not even. Some parents are doing it, and some are not. That's why we have 17% accessing a meal in school. But what we have done is basically rejuvenating the school garden model in the schools to say that every school now has a school garden to just complement the few meals that are there, either greens or what to add a few things there. Then the question about junk food. Yes, some parents, of course, because there is no standard at the moment, the policy is under development. Some parents actually provide money to their kids to be able to buy something at school. It's hard to control it, but then we are working with the canteens in the schools and working with the stakeholders so that they're providing safe and healthy food to the kids. What we call a canteen for us is now a shop, a small kiosk shop, not the canteen where people are actually accessing a meal. A small shop within a school where people could actually buy a small snack or anything. But of course, these are like really, really very basic in a way. And finally, your question was around the linkages. So again, where we are at, because there is no public procurement happening at the moment. So even the procurement that is being done, if a school has 1,000 kids and only 17% accessing a meal, is very minimal. Procurement is very minimal. Someone is buying too little. So once we did a small investigation, the procurement was really, really not significant that is happening. So the linkages for the farmers and everything are not economically meaningful at the moment because of the nature of resources that are there. But once there is a takeover to the government, then these things will begin making sense. We shall look into the procurement modalities. Actually, our research right now that we are undertaking is actually focusing on the roles of the government and the procurement modalities that could be undertaken within Mbale, and we want that to be a pilot for Uganda. So that's what we are undertaking at the moment, to just look into those potentialities and how we can actually be able to do procurement. So finally, we are at a point of really designing the right interventions, and we have that opportunity to say that we do it right from the start. So this is an opportunity for us to begin replicating what's happening here, what has taken you 5 years or so, and we are beginning from where you are at now. And so we won't have to go through the mistakes that you've gone through. Thank you very much.
Thank you, WRI, Edwina, thank you very much, and thank you, Amalia, because also this panel was a joint panel. We had two separate proposals, and they agreed with us to have one. So it was not easy to merge, but in the end, actually, I was sure since the beginning that it would be easy, because these are the things that we discuss and that we do every day, all these cities. So I hope that this gave you the sound and the feeling of the school meal and the efforts that all of us are doing on that. And thank you. Enjoy the break.